We got a lot. Today is going to be the day. Today is the day. We are cooking. You see that I have my little makeup situation I got. Because, it's Halloween special. So, I'm wearing makeup for the special guests today. I didn't even tell them that I was going to wear makeup. Well, I think I did, but I feel like I didn't. But neither way. I'm so excited for today. I'm so excited for the special guest that we have coming up for this evening. If you are literally into design or a stylist, fashion designer, all the things, costume, I would say all the things design. This is going to be a special treat for all of you, especially in the space that with this IG Live Talk, I'm a producer, so I always deal with these type of positions all the time, but I never get to know their story too much. So IG Live Talk, it gives us the space to be able to have the one-on-one talks, knowing the journey, knowing the stories that I have, especially outside of my role of producing. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and get my guests to come in. Let's see if we're gonna add them in here. I'm so excited for today. Oh, and we also have announcements too, but I'll leave that towards the end. So without further ado, let's see if I can get my other queen to join in as well. All right, let's see if I got them in. Right, I sent one in. Let's see if we can send the other one in. All right. Having some little technical difficulties, but let's see if we can send the invite again. If not, then we'll probably have to refresh, but let's see if we can try this one more time. We got one. Okay, I accept it. Let's see what. Okay. Hey, you see that? I got dressed up. You see I got dressed?
I appreciate that. And I love it.
You're welcome. Thank you. Let's see if we can get other queen in here. And how's your day going today?
I'm good. I'm chilling.
I love the outfit. It's giving me very cool. I love the earrings. I forgot my earrings, but I'm an earring girl. So definitely I'm excited to be able to dive into your story, you and Brittny's story, and be able to all things costume. Let's see. How did you get in? You just went ahead and invited, probably have to have
I just
Brittny
sent the request myself. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so let me see if I can have Brittny send the request. Because I did the invite, but it looks like just technical difficulties. I don't know if it's the retrograde chat.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with bike jerseys right now.
I love it.
So,
and you can never find a good biker jersey. It's vintage. Hey, queen. Yay! I love it.
Sorry, it's a little dark. I'm in my childhood home.
Listen, I'm over here in my little corner office, what I would call my little corner office. You see my granddad over here, rest in peace.
I like it.
See, the whole things art. I give it very streetwear.
It's
I don't
cute.
Know. Thank you. It's the thing. But needless to say, I am so excited for both of you queens to be able to tell your gems. The IG Live Talk series, I've been able to just kick off this fall to just dive into people's stories, journeys, accolades, and future stuff that they're going on. But the biggest thing is that story. I feel like at the end of the day, all of us are hitting that goal of story, whether it's film, independent, unscripted, scripted, competition. Over here on the side, we're all making that goal and trying to make it to the highest ability, either Emmy, Oscar, Tony, Grammy, give me all. But without further ado, I would love to introduce both of my queens here, Miss Dominique Dawson and Brittny Chapman. They are both in the world of costume design and all the things up to Emmy nominated, first of all. So we're gonna not only talk about their background, but talk about how they got into Swarm, which was what I was like, whoa, diving into those things. And then also really diving into the difference of the union and the guild, because they're both represented in both of those spaces. And I would say the highest accolade too, because I was like, vice president, president. I was like, how did you get into those roles at the same time doing what you love to do at the same time? And also being able to understand that just because you want to get into hair, makeup, design, you can get into these things in TV and film and be represented very well. So Dominique, I'm gonna let you first take off. Where your background, where you're from, tell us how you really just got into the space in the hometown that you're from.
I mean, I'm from the Bay.
Hey.
I was born in Vallejo. Oh, yeah. Born in Vallejo, and I grew up in San Francisco. So I was just surrounded by, you know, the arts, museums, so much culture. And I grew up with a mom who was a stylist. So I was always on set and just having fun playing dress up and, you know, thrifting. And that was just built into my identity, I think. So yeah.
And then also for you too, Brittny, where are you from? And tell us how you, I would say probably the first style, because for me, like back then, I always loved Mary J. Blige. Like growing up, it was Mary J. Blige and TLC's Crazy Sexy Cool that I loved, like as my design and like fashion background. So tell me where you're from and what got you into like that spark of costume design.
So my name is Brittny Chapman. I am from Philly, which I'm actually here right now, oddly enough.
Yeah.
I feel like growing up here really shaped who I am and what my style is. I grew up here in the 90s and the early aughts, and also the influence of my mom, just like Dominique. My mom was like super fly, but didn't realize that she could have any type of fashion career. So she ended up being a manager at Learners, which is New York and Company, which now does not exist. But I would say all of that combined, she would buy me all types of clothes. She would let me actually dress myself from like the age of 5. So I really was able to shape and form my own style. And it probably was like very much a different world, Cosby Show vibes all combined together. I was like, Dominique knows exactly how I dress, and she can attest that is exactly what I look like at all times.
Yes.
Would you also say the same for you, Dominique, as well? Did you knew like growing up like this is your style? Because honestly, I would say secretly I didn't know what my style was, child, until maybe like high school. Like and this was like the jerkin age, like with the skinny jeans and the Vans and the, you know, with the top, you know. But I feel like that's where like I didn't really have that opportunity to have that spark. But I feel like as designers, you really have that at a really young age. Did that was also for you too?
You know, it's funny, like, I started out when I was really little, like modeling, and I really loved putting on clothes.
Yeah.
And then I got put into a school that had uniforms. So then it was more about like, how can I make this uniform dope?
Right.
And I kind of think I lost a little bit of my own self, you know, style and like fashion, because I was trying to get out of that uniform mold. But it wasn't until probably really like college that I was finally able to like be free of the uniforms and like discover what I was. You know what I mean?
Gosh,
and really play.
In middle school, we had uniforms as well. Like, and I remember some of the girls, they had like they had to stuff their shoes, like the shoes and the hair for us girls was what defined us if we were in those uniforms. And oh my gosh, I can't even wear corduroy. I can't wear white ones with the I just can't do it no more. Yeah. So for you going into, you know, into the journey, you know, did any of you like know costume design specifically was it around in high school, middle school? Like, where was that age where you really kind of honed in specifically that niche?
Go ahead,
No, I was about to say, Dom, you go first. Because the funny thing is, neither of us, that wasn't the specific choice for either of us.
Yeah.
So I was like, Dom will go first because hers aligns a little bit more with costumes, but not quite.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's funny because I had an uncle who was very fierce and very fabulous. And every year he had like constructed these Wizard of Oz costumes, and him and his boys would get all decked out and go to the Castro Halloween parade.
Right.
So I, like, growing up, I was always the little munchkin that they would dress me up as one of the munchkins.
Yeah.
And I would go twirl with these drag queens. You know, they weren't drag queens regularly, but they were on Halloween. So I was just exposed to like this heightened, like free feeling. And I just thought that was like normal. And then it was kind of like, why don't we do this every day? You know, and I slowly started collecting, you know, thrifting and collecting costumes and stuff and playing around just with my friends. And then that turned into, you know, eventually going to NYU. And, you know, when I went to NYU, I went in as a director. And through directing the plays and, you know, my thesis project, I just realized how significant costumes are, and how, you know, they really are like the actor's second skin. And so as soon as I graduated, I just kind of veered in that direction so that I could just learn as much as I could, you know.
That's deep. Look, if you can take away from anything from this thing, just know, design your clothing as actors, it is the second skin. I know that's right. Oof. Because I feel like it's me. I feel like I'm back in Renaissance right here for some Renaissance.
I love it.
And so for you, like, for you as well, Brittny, where did you feel like, you know, you recognize that second skin? Like, when you was like, did you like design like clothes for your family, and like, did you like go into other things of like that little niche? Because eventually we're going to get to the part where you eventually made it to a business, into your own brand, into getting to it to be a job for you.
For me, all of it was a no. I went to a highly, like, ridiculously academic school in Philly from 5th through 12th grade. There was no level of freedom when it came to like creativity. We had art classes and language and music, but nothing like, it was just in me. And I always like played around with my outfits. I would come to school with really strange things on. It wasn't even that type of school. Like, I would always have like hush puppies and bow ties or something, or like just something quirky and fun, because it was like, how can I infuse some excitement into my very boring academic day? So from there, I was like, okay, well, I can't do fashion because that's really vain. You know, that's kind of the message that I was getting. So I was like, I'll go to school for communications. Because I loved music videos. But I was like, what's a practical way I can apply that? So I was like, I could do radio. And literally, like, I went to school for radio communications. And I interned at Wendy Williams. I interned at an independent radio station here in Philly. And then I was like, this is stupid. I don't like this. This is horrible. And like, literally. And I was like, I just don't like this. I don't feel good. And my senior year of college, I got an internship at a magazine called Jane Magazine. It is now defunct. But it was the first time that I really understood the story that I could tell with fashion and with clothes. So I transitioned into doing editorial work. And that was it. That was it for me. I was like, I'm sold. I can't, like, there's nothing else that I want to do. I want to be around clothes. I want to be around models. I want to be around, like, whatever story I can tell through clothing and fashion and accessories, like, that has me locked in.
Right. Interesting. And so now, leading it to being a job, what was the first job that you had? And because I know, for me, like, I'm in the AP world, and we got to do all different types of genres. I got to go syndication. I got to go competition. I got to go over here, but I just got to get to where I could be eventually into story producing and that. So especially for, you know, costume design, I don't even know where the first steps to kind of really go into. So what would be what was your first job and that like experience?
Well, for me, I like Brittny, you know, like when I got out of college, I had done several internships, but I really just went into editorial because I was like, this is the best way for me to like learn the brands, learn truly the art of putting things together, but really creating some unique message, right, through clothing. Because sometimes it's incredibly minimalist, sometimes it's heightened and stylized, and I wanted to be able to play with all of those types. And so it was really, I could feel, even though I loved editorial and it was really, really fun, at that time, I didn't see myself there. There wasn't a lot of plus size models at that time. So it was hard for me to kind of connect. Like, of course, I have a vivid imagination and I have fun with all sizes, right? But so that kind of helped me gear my focus and attention more into film. And so I went after this random short film because back then they had this site called Mandy. And it was like a production listing website. And I was just like, I mean, I've never been a costume designer, but it's a short. So I think I could do it, you know? And I applied and I got it. And, you know, it was written by Israel Horovitz, and it was just such a dope experience because it was like all about, you know, the TSA and in airports. And at that time, because of 9/11, there was a lot of strife with Middle East and here and all of that. And so it was a great political piece. And so I could really sink my teeth in and learn about that Islamic culture. And so that was kind of my first thing.
That's awesome.
And after I did that, I knew. I said, I'm moving back to California. Goodbye, New York.
You were like, that was it. Okay, so wait, if you would have to choose New York or California after having that experience?
Definitely California. If you don't have long money, I would suggest New York.
Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
And especially,
and you said especially for,
and especially as you get older, you're like, no, I need nature. I need space. I need to be able to have people over, and that's just so important to me. So.
Yeah, I feel like New York is like the fast life. Like, I'm like, let me just, you know, I could tap in, but I also have to kind of. I'm a very like you, spiritual. I need a break. I need air. I need the beach. I need to take in. And so definitely always having that self-care is 100% with me too. And so also for you, Brittny, what was the first job that you had and what was your POV experience on that day one?
So oddly enough, I was in magazines. I stopped doing that because I needed to pay my bills. I was still in New York.
Yeah.
And I started to come to LA to visit like my cousin, and I've known Dominique since I've lived in New York. We actually worked at Barney's together. We used to hang out. Like, we've known each other forever.
Yeah.
So I would come to LA and I was like, I think I'm going to move here, y'all. So they were like, cool, move. I moved. I was doing magazine stuff. Dominique was working on a show. And she was like, you know, I think you might really like to costume. I think it'll be your jam. Like, she's like, I know you love editorial work, but I think that you would be really good at this. And I was like, whatever, I don't care. I'll do it. I didn't care. I was doing anything somebody asked me to do. No lie.
Right.
I would show up anywhere. Okay. So I go, we talk, like I meet everybody. We talk the first day. We go through the clothes. We're talking to each other about the show. And I was just like, this is fucking weird. I can't believe I'm in here. I'm doing something right now that like I didn't even know was an option. I didn't even know that it was attainable, you know? And it's like only through God, only through like serendipity, Bashert, whatever you want to call it, that me and Dominique have been connected for years before that. And she saw something in me to understand like, hey, I think this is perfectly aligned with you and where you're going in your journey, you know? And it clicked. Like, and it was me, her, and like one or two other people.
Yeah.
Dressing like 10 people on a show where we were block shooting everything. We did 33 episodes in what, like 2-3 months?
It was insane.
Woo, it was my
That
first
is a
show.
It was like
schedule.
40, sometimes 40 pages a day.
Yes.
You're like, what?
Yes.
How do you sleep? How do you sleep?
We didn't.
Oh,
She would
okay.
sleep in the office while we were on set, and then at lunchtime I would sleep.
Oh,
Like that's what
friends are for.
yeah,
Take turns.
it was a
Yeah.
lot. It was a lot, but it was my first thing ever.
Yeah.
Like very much baptism by fire, but we did like several more shows together, and every time we got better, we worked better, we learned how to do different things. We attacked the projects differently. Like we've literally, honestly, I'm like we've literally grown together to this point in learning and changing and growing as costume designers and me as a costumer. Like it's been an evolution together. So she really helped me with that first job and completely changed my view of what I was capable of doing.
That is so beautiful. And then having the fact, like, I'm really big on mentorship, which that's a big announcement we'll be having later. But for you, Dominique, what do you feel like is the benefit of having, like, when you feel that connection? Because, you know, working in Hollywood, working in entertainment, some people feel like you can have that connection and be like, no, it just has to have, like, what do you feel like checks off the box to have a perfect connection like Brittny? And having those connections that you have with other people in this type of space. Because some people just don't know. Like, some people just don't know, like, the attitude that you have coming in is something that people remember when you walk out the room.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, I had known Brittny for so long, and like just from the moment I met her, she was always so fearless in her expression, right, of self, whether it was like dope hair, dope earrings. Where'd you get that? I'm talking about limited edition, rare, you know, just like every single piece. Yeah. I would look at her and I'd be like, oh my God, I love this. I'm so inspired. And you kind of have little friends that like are like your muse, you know, in some capacity. Like, right. And for me, she was like that inspiration, right? So it just made sense. But on top of it, she's dumb smart, like crazy on top of it. Really good at multitasking, and like, so, and I trusted her. So the most important thing was that I knew I had like a sister that would have my back. And that's what I'm always looking for in any partnership when it comes to costume, you know, because you need each other. You're together for so many hours every day. And so that's what I just hold so dear to me, you know, the most. Yeah.
Listen, and you will not have this type of space in the room to get this type of flowers, girl. Accept it.
Yes. I was like, thank you. Thank you. And she knows I am literally a reflection of her. Literally.
I can see it. I see it, literally.
I was like, I'm going to give her flowers right now, too. You want to talk about a visionary? Like, costume design, you can throw that off to the side. Yeah. Like, production design, literally like producing, directing, writing, like she can do it all, and like is slowly walking into that space of doing that and truly owning it. And I'm like super looking forward to everything else that she's showing that everybody that she can do, because I think a lot of people think that's just her singular talent. Design is not even the tip of the iceberg with her. Like she literally encompasses so much, like multifaceted talent is what she is. And it's the best part about working with her is the vision. You're going to get a vision, baby. And it's going to be very clear and very precise. And you're not going to have to ask any questions. I'll go out and go shopping. I'll come back. It's exactly what she wants because she's already provided me of exactly what the vision is for what we're executing. Like, I'm telling you. Like,
shout out to you, and shout out to anyone that is a multifaceted, like we have here in the comments. Multifaceted, I think, is the key to having an amazing, being a creative as a whole. I feel like even like you said with costume design, it's not just one thing. Like y'all all like doing all things in the one. So if I were to be a producer, I don't know. I'm day one. I don't know what's going on. I'm a PA. I'm walking in. Hey y'all. I don't know what your day-to-day is, and we have to do day one of the shoot. What would be the day one for an assistant costume designer versus a costume designer for day one?
I mean, I think I think the only difference is, you know, as soon as I get the script, I spend so much time trying to do the research to understand the character dynamics, right? And then understand also the current events of what was happening around those characters at the time. Like, even if it's not a true story, we need to know what time of year this was. Was this, you know, when we found out that Michael Jackson had passed away, or was he still here? Like, all of these things affect character, right? And so I put a lot of time into that. And then, like, I'm just so visual. I just spend so much time on my decks, you know? But what's great is, like, it's ever growing. So you pour all this into the deck, and then you meet with the director, then you meet with the producer, then you meet with your ACD, and it's like this stockpiling of images and taking out and adding, and until you finally get the solid idea of the show, you know? And so, yeah, I mean, I think her process is pretty similar too.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing that a lot of people don't realize, like, if you're in another aspect of production / not in production at all, our day one does not start on the day we start filming. Our day one starts maybe weeks, months. It could be a year before we actually even start shooting that we have our day one. And Dominique will spend a bit more time with the producers, fleshing out what the direction is. Right. But maybe I'm in there right with her. I'm in meetings with her, with the producers, with all the other department heads, like consistently supporting her through into every single step. Yeah. I don't know any projects. I mean, there might be some projects have more than one ACD. You know, one might, like, for example, if you're doing Star Wars, huge show, you know, they have really huge productions. They might have an ACD for custom made. They might have an ACD for the printables. They might have an ACD, you know, they'll have an ACD for different facets to be overseen so that the singular designer isn't being pulled in several directions. Interesting. But again, their first day is always going to start during prep, the time where we're getting ready to, like, we're building up our department and our costumes so we can go into shooting. That's what prep would be. Also, Dominique said deck. If you don't know what a deck is, it's basically if somebody sat down and did like a Pinterest board for what they're showing, what they want the vision to be or what they want the looks to be for the project. So she executes a deck based off of the information the producers, the writer, the director gives her. They go through it with a fine-tooth comb. She'll sit there and say, okay, this is what they want. And then based off of that deck, we hit the ground running with shopping, with literally visualizing between the script and the deck. We put it together, and that's kind of how we start our beginning. Whereas, like, a lot of other people's day ones is like, oh, I showed up on set today. What you want me to do? It's like, oh, girl, no. You have to be here through the journey, baby.
Listen.
Okay?
Facts.
But yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so, okay, so tester. Would it be, for your space and your position, is it usually cool and good and like smooth when it has a bigger budget, or when it's independent, like a little, you know, little short budget?
They have,
because, you know, some people be like, make the magic work, like how they do in post production. They be like, make the magic happen. Does that sometimes happen often in your department too? They be like, shout out the guy like a little $100,000 or something, but make the magic happen.
Yes. It's like, sometimes I'm like, you know, am I supposed to be the Messiah or Merlin the magician?
Yes,
like, I can do a lot of things through Christ.
Yes.
But,
yes, amen. Hallelujah.
But I'm not him.
Listen.
So, the funny thing is like, there's different issues with both, right? Yeah. So sometimes if you're on an indie, because they don't have so many resources, you have a little bit more freedom to really, you know, make these distinct choices and, you know, execute, and it might be so wonderful and a great experience. But then it could also be super problematic if you blow your whole wardrobe budget on like your 2 top principals, and then the rest of the cast is just kind of like not in the same world, right? Whereas like if it's a big budget, everything's possible, they think, but is it big enough? Is the budget big enough? That's what I like to know, because then they expect, you know, this gorgeous, beautiful work, which we want to do,
Right.
but maybe they're not so realistic. So
yeah, I second that.
there are benefits to both.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so here we are. Now we're in this path. We're working, doing our thizzle with, you know, gig after gig. Now we want to go from the independent to maybe potential of either the union or the guild. So, Dominique, I'll let you start first in regards to, I know that you're in the union space. Tell us a little bit, like, what made you decide? Because I know some people be like, I get it through my friends. They'll tell me, get in there. You be like, girl, not yet. I ain't got the money just yet. I ain't got the credits just yet. So when was that one show or moment or referral that got you to be like, okay, maybe I'll decide to take that path? And then what would be some of the tips for you in your position to get to that path of the union?
Right. Well, I worked for years, and I mean, I don't know, maybe 7, maybe 8. I'm not, can't really remember.
Yeah.
Strictly non-union, right? And I was researching and hoping and praying and trying to assist certain people, the right people, to help get me in.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what ended up happening is I worked on a show called American Coco, which Viola Davis produced for ABC Digital, and that show flipped. So as a result, I was able to get into the Costume Designers Guild. So that was like just truly a godsend. And with that, I was able to get some of my best friends in as well. And since then, I really pride myself on trying to fight as much as I can and demand certain people that I know are like my friend, one of my dear friends, Van, she has been fighting to get in the union for 12 years. And when I finally was, I know, and when I finally was in a position where I had the authority to say, no, she is the only costumer that's available that can shop what I need right now, then she got in because of my request. You know what I mean? And so like, I understand the fight. I understand it's there's so many ways you can get in. But I think Brittny could talk more about it because she's like an official spokesperson. You know, I don't hold the rank.
Child.
So.
Yeah.
Not quite official.
Let me tell you something. You hold, when I tell, because you're on the guild side, but not only you're on the guild side, but you are in like VP. So I know you have to like really understand like the protocols, the day-to-days, the feedback, the reviews, all that. And especially I know with like from back then, the guild and joining them back then is totally different now, especially with technology and all the things going ahead. So tell us your background and how, like, again, who, referral, when did you hit that moment that someone was like, you need to join the guild? And then what decided to make you become the VP of that level?
Lord. Okay. So for anyone who doesn't know, a guild and a union are different. Unions aren't quite localized. They usually sometimes tend to be like, well, actually, that's a lie. Sorry. Opposite.
Yeah.
Unions can be localized. Guilds tend to be broader. So 892 is the Costume Designers Guild, but that covers the country. And then there's also one in New York, but people in LA can still work in New York because the guild covers the country.
Oh.
I am part of the guild as an assistant costume designer. Now, unions tend to be under an umbrella of something else. For example, I'm in Local 705. That's the costumers union. It's under IATSE. And I like IATSE and say SAG. Like SAG is a guild covered across the nation, but like you can see the difference. IATSE covers a bunch of different smaller unions, and then guilds usually are pretty expansive, and they have a shit ton of membership. I started with local 705 first because honestly, everybody's like suggestion was you go to 705 because you'll get more work. As a costumer, you will always like you can always work somewhere, get health insurance, get a living wage, have hours towards your health insurance and towards your retirement. So that's literally why I joined 705 first. The only reason I did it was because a woman named Rebecca Gregg, who is a dear friend and a mentor, she was like, I like you. I think you should be in the union. And I was like, sure, whatever, I'll do it. And then we did a show that just like Dominique, it flipped. You're supposed to have 30 days. I got 26. So it took me a year to get my extra 4 days, but it was a year of me selling myself to different people, literally calling the union and saying, hey, I only have 4 days left. They literally were about to expire by the time I got my extra 4 days. And I got them from a man named Daniel Salone, who is phenomenal, who is now currently a costume designer. He started out building walkabouts. I don't know how we meet these people, but yeah, walkabouts are the giant costumes that people walk around in Disney. He used to build
Networking.
Listen. He's phenomenal, but he got me my last 4 days. And then I just stayed in 705 and I kind of worked my way up because there are different classifications. So I do women's finish, which means I work mostly I used to work on set. So I took care of like 1 through whoever and background. And 1 is whoever is the top of the call sheet as an actor. And I did that for a really long time. But even during that time, I was still technically ACDing, which is assistant costume designing. People would hire me as a key, but have me support them as an assistant costume designer. So it's interesting because in 705, you can get some flexibility and it's like guaranteed work where you don't have to have an agent. You really just have to get to know people, network with people, and build a community of people who see you for who you are as a costumer, and then they want to plug you in and connect you in different spaces. The guild, which is why like Dom, that was her talent. That's her craft. Like she's not a costumer. Like she could be, but it would be a waste. Like quite honestly, it would be a waste of her talents. So like it does take a bit more time to get into the guild because when you get in, you don't want to just pay the money and then pay the dues every quarter and not work. It's too expensive. It's not worth it for your own personal experience. So it really does pay to do as much work as possible on the indie side until you can get in on a project and say like, hey, I did all these projects. This is the project that, like she said, it flipped, it got her in. But then from there, she got her own projects and then she gets an agent. And then they help her get more projects. And then she gets more work. So then like she gets these larger shows and she's able to really transition into making it a fruitful career instead of just paying out of pocket dues for nothing, just to say she's in something that she's not contributing to, her name's not getting out there. So like that's why it's kind of a difference between getting into the union and getting into the guild. If that makes any sense about the two of them.
That actually is interesting because like, they talk about getting to the union, getting into the guild, but like you said, like it takes a lot, and I love that you both have given like the really deep insight. I think somebody said like, when do those days expire? I didn't know that stuff expired.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every year.
Yeah. You said every year, so, like there's like once you try to apply and get in, there's a certain amount of days or months that
you start getting your days on the what's called the roster, which does not exist for guilds. So like for Dominique, she could just be like, oh look, I did like for literally to get in, you can give them the credits, you get some recommendations, you pay a certain amount, and then you can get in. For 705, once my calendar days start for my 30 days on a working roster, which is this special roster that they keep a list of the days that you've worked that have been union shows. Once my 30 days starts, I'm on the clock for a year. Once it hits a year, they keep checking off the days day by day by day. So you lose a day. Once you get to the year, you're losing every day the further into the next year you go.
Right.
And that's, I mean, we're lucky. It's 30 days. For some people, for DGA, I don't even want to talk about how many days they have to get.
Yeah.
And I was like, Dominique knows it's a ton of days. You gotta be out.
Yeah, and the cost.
Non-local
and on top of they have to put their equipment. It's a lot.
Every local has a different amount of days, different requirements.
Yeah.
But I will say, for anybody who, even if you're not interested in costume design, reach out to the locals that you're interested in. If you're interested in crafty, reach out. I think that might be 44. If you're interested in driving, reach out to the Teamster. Reach out and ask them what the requirements are, and then try to meet somebody who's doing it. It's the easiest thing to do, and just get a feel for what it is to make sure you want to pay that money and keep paying them that money. You know, you don't want to just get in and be like, hey, I'm in here now, and they're like, oh, so it's about $5,000 and every quarter is $500, and you're not working, you're not making that money. It's not fruitful for you. So just,
like,
you
make
know,
it make sense.
exactly, make it make sense for you, but also do the work before you officially sign on to get in, to know that that's like what you're committed to.
Any notes also for last takeaway as far as the union and the guild, Dominique? Like, what would you also take away for those that are interested?
I think, you know, just, it's also the power of networking. You know what I mean? Like, for Brittny was talking about days, and like, we do still have days, right? Like, you have to prove that you worked 30 days as a costume designer on a union show. And then, but then how are you supposed to do that if you're not in the union? So it's this very interesting catch-22. But if you're constantly meeting people and, you know, supporting your friends and putting feelers out there, you're tapped into what are the new shows that are coming. And so then you can pitch yourself, you know, and maybe catch an opportunity, as I did, you know, because the great thing about the show I did is then when it did flip, then that actress went on to get her own pilot, and then I was able to, you know what I mean? Because what's funny is, actually, I had 27 days, and I said I have 27 days. The Amazon producer wrote me a letter, and they were able to let me work the 3 days on this new pilot, you know, not as the designer, or just like, and then I got in, and then I started paying my dues. So, yeah.
Look at God. Literally, when you're like, by chance and by networking, you are able to not, like, the biggest thing is invest in yourself, because being creative is not for free, okay? And we cannot be giving our craft and our art for free. We have to be able to monetize on ourselves and be able to have a piece and be able to do the things that we want to do for not only our community but family, and be able to give back. And so, well, before we jump into Swarm and how you both got into that project, I want to heard the term you were both saying, flipped. So what is that terminology for someone that is not in that world? And like, when do you kind of hear about it being flipped? And what's the pros and cons of when a show is flipped?
Ooh, okay. So most shows, not most, but like smaller shows, some, I don't want to say that, I'm not gonna be rude. Smaller shows sometimes tend to not be completely union because it's more expensive. Right. If it's not in their budget, sometimes they'll just straight up be non-union. Yeah. Now, sometimes other shows will have it in their budget, but they specifically start out as non-union, because it's like, okay, if we start out as non-union, we can get all our ducks in a row, get our budget together, and then we can flip the show. Or, sometimes what happens is a person on the show might call a union and say, I'm working on a non-union show. Here's the call sheet. Here's the information about the show. I'm pretty sure that the show can flip. Then that union will go there. They will pull everybody out. You will have a meeting outside, and then nobody will be able, the show will basically kind of be struck, until they decide to flip the show. If they want to continue production, they have to flip the show.
Oh.
So that's pretty much how that works. And when we say flip, that means it goes from non-union to union. That's it. Which then means that every person who is working on that show who is not in a union, because sometimes union people work on non-union shows, they just need money. It's an easy, connection for them. Yeah. If the show flips, then that means you now are going to start getting your union days on that show. God willing, it's for the amount of days that you need so you can stretch it out and then apply to whatever the local is that you're going to start working at. But it's one of the easier ways to get in is through a show, flipping from non-union to union, and then you can accrue your days and go through that.
Yeah.
Another way, and I was like, Dominique and I both, I think, got in this other way, is you get some days, maybe bouncing around from show to show, and then you don't have enough days when it's coming to your year, and you get a waiver. So they'll give you a waiver to work the rest of your days on a specific production. Yeah. The producer has to sign off to say it is okay for this person to do that. If it is not signed off, it is not legal. The production can be fined or
grieve.
They'll basically, yeah, thank you. They'll basically grieve the production if they have people working in union roles that they're not supposed to be working in. So those are strict? It's very strict because it's about that coin. But those are like the two. I mean, there are many ways, as Dominique said, but those are like the two ways. If you're talking about flipping, and then you're talking about you have days from a flip show, you don't have enough, you need more.
So interesting. Like I remember early on, I was on so many shows where the camera department was all union, but then everybody else wasn't.
Yeah. And nobody.
That was.
They could have called.
I was definitely on something like that.
Yeah,
the camera people don't play.
Yeah, they don't. But if that was the case, you can call and say like, "Hey, I'm working on this project. I know that the camera department is union, not sure about the rest of the show." If you give the information, it's completely anonymous. Whatever local it is, they'll do the research and they'll come down there and they'll essentially, if they can, they will shut the show down.
Right.
Well, child, let's not shut everything down because we'd have been through the pandemic. We can take every little show we get, but I definitely support in regards to do the research. I would definitely say if you're interested in getting to the union or the guild, you have two amazing queens that are represented in that space. I don't know, regards to DMs and contacts, but what would be the best contact for those who want to research the union and the guild? What would be the best sources for those?
I mean, they really spell it out on the union website. The application is really clear, the letters of recommendation. But I definitely support any questions. So like if people DM me, like I literally just got a call from my friend who's a costume designer and she's wanting representation. And so I'm going to kind of walk her through, the steps for that and provide her with some emails and stuff. So yeah, I mean,
yeah. Same. I was like, feel free to, DM me, send an owl. It doesn't matter. People hit me up all the time. Especially since I'm the vice president of 705 now, I give my info to more people because a lot of union things come up that people don't feel comfortable talking to other people about.
Yeah.
So I'm like, just if you are interested, reach out to me. I don't really care if you hit me up, whatever time. I was like, if you know somebody that I know, hit them up, they'll connect you to me. Like I was like, me and Dominique always kind of do that. Like the girl Van she was talking about, I knew her, connected her with Dominique. Dominique got her in. I literally just saw her. I was at her swearing. Like, we all are kind of interconnected. So if you hit one of us up, you'll end up connecting with all of us.
And that's awesome to have because again, like especially for us, especially people of color, we need to sit together, and especially in these spaces, like it's hard for us to really reach out. Like it's always that DM and that like one chance that would take you to that opportunity. So let's talk about what the audience wants to hear about. Swarm, okay? Swarm, baby, that whole thing, first of all, amazing work, amazing job. Shout out to both of you for getting the Emmy nominated to both of your positions. So we will start with you, Brittny. How did you hear about the project? How did you get to this? And what was your okay, Swarm, here we go. We got like you said, day one, we're gonna get the script. What was that moment for? I'll say for both of you. We can go bing bing back and forth.
I'm only gonna start because Dominique's not going to say what I'm about to say.
What was you about to say, Graf?
I left the show because Dominique had a really, when I say out of this world, once in a lifetime opportunity to do this project. She called me. She asked me if I wanted to be her assistant. I said yes. I left my other job. literally a week or so later, she was like, so we're not doing the show. So both of us had nothing. We had no job. We just were out here living our lives like it's golden. Okay. So like maybe, yeah, another week later, she's like, okay, I might have something, but I'm not sure. Let me digest everything. Let me talk to the people. I'll let you know, but I'm locking you in. I said, cool.
Yeah.
I'm doing other work. She finally gets back to me and she sends me the script. And baby, it was just, I was like, I've never seen a Black woman be allowed to have this level of freedom. And she didn't have to sell it to me, but of course she was like, and we get to do all this stuff and nobody's going to tell us what to do. And we have a lot of freedom. And I was like, okay, so that's even better. Like that, the script was dope on top of the fact that she had a vision that they were willing to support and not make her like scale back in what the creativity was going to be. It really, it locked me in. And I was like, okay, if that is guaranteed, then we can really do something fun with this. And I'm like, I know what she likes. I know where her mind goes and like what she wants to see. So I was like, oh, this is going to be amazing. Yeah. Like there's no limit to what we're going to be capable of doing. So that's why I got on board, and that's how it came to me. But she can tell you how the overall thing came to her.
Listen, I'm ready. Queen, tell us how you got this project and where were you at this moment in your life?
Swarm. Well, like Brittny said, I was jobless at the time. No, and I was basically just doing research and working with my team to try to figure out, what my next thing was going to be. Yeah. But what was great is, when you get an agent, they have kind of access to this database that shows all the shows and what positions they're looking for, so they can just like plug their clients in and set up meetings. Yeah. But on this one, this show wasn't in that database. And Donald had actually seen The Last Black Man of San Francisco and the work I did on that, and he spoke with the director and kind of word got back and like my name got in his ear. And so then he found me, they called and they said, we would love to set up a meeting ASAP. And so then I was like, oh, we doing this week. Okay. So, typically it takes a good amount of time to build the deck properly. And this show went through so many journeys. I really wanted it to be, really riveting. And so I just threw myself into it and got the job done. And it was so cool because, once I got on the Zoom with him, we barely referenced the deck. Like he had already seen it, but he wanted to talk about everything else except the show pretty much. Like he really wanted to see where my heart was, what were the things that I care about, what my influences were, to see if I was tapped in to the culture so that I could bring this story to life properly, right? And luckily, we both had experiences with like cows randomly. Like I lived on a dairy farm in Texas for like 6 months, and he was like, oh my God, I just bought a cow. And like it's the most random things he's like totally inspired by. And so I feel like that was like, he was like, he knew he could trust me after that combo. So
I like that word, trust. Like, yeah. I feel it in like your journeys, both your story. I feel it within this project. So for you, like, because you said it went through so many highs and lows through the process of this product. And so for you, where do you feel like some lessons and tips that you learned in the journey of working on Swarm? And what were some takeaways? I know for me, like, when I worked on the Hype, which is Offset's streetwear competition show, what I really understood was that these were kids that did not have the opportunities. Some had opportunities. They went to school for fashion. They were able to. And then some of them was just upcycling in the back of their house and was trying to make it work. But how am I able as a producer to advocate these stories to be whoever's they made it into the slots, like the Pages and Barth and you know, Sierra with her, you know, sneaker upcycles. I love that style.
Yeah.
I tell her that all the time. And so for you, when you did Swarm, for both of you, what was that journey, having to like advocate the story into these scenes, into these characters?
Well, I mean, just to be straight up, like the writing team did so much work to really provide us with unique characters, really specific settings and of mood, and we were able to just really latch on. Like the world was painted for us, right?
Yeah.
But on top of that, they're risk takers. Like all the people that are involved, including Stephen Prince from Amazon, they're all fearless. Like they don't need to play it safe. They already have an audience that loves and adores everything that they do. So that just gave me so much permission to be at ease and like, yo, we can push the envelope here and really showcase something special that we don't see every day on TV.
And following what you just say, like what we don't see on TV. I know you said, Brittny, that you do like most of the shopping, at least for what your position does. And I know some people, I know for me, for Cali, like we go to Santee Alley to get some of these fabrics, down on West 3rd Street to get the fabrics, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes they make the magic. Like, I don't even know how. Like, so for you as a shopper, like for you picking, like making these designs and stuff that's in the deck come to life and finding these pieces, what is your eye? What is it that you look for? I know especially you get like most of this, the guidance from Dominique in your head. But for you always have to bring something special. You bring your little pizzazz into it in your position too. So where was it in your space, especially for Swarm? What were some of the things that you brought to the table in your creativity, in your eye?
So I will say this, as an ACD, it's different with every designer. Like I work with another friend, and she I'm attached at the hip. We might as well have be locked at the fucking arm together. Sorry, I keep cussing everybody.
It's good.
But
This is RG Live Talk. We real.
Okay, I'm like, we might as well be locked together, and I follow her everywhere she goes. Yeah. With Dominique, we started the first day. She already came in with bolts of fabric. She already came in. Look, I'm letting people know this is how she works. She's very tactile. So she come in with bulk like fabric. She already came in with trim. She already came in with appliques. She already came in.
She gave you literally she was Oprah. She gave you everything. I'm gonna give you this, and this.
Yes. So she came in with all this stuff already. She had her plan intact. So really, I find for me, and what I end up becoming is the taskmaster. And I come in and I make sure that we stay on task, that we're ready for our fittings, that the fittings are set up, that every single look that she wanted, every piece is there, that every piece has been shopped. Because sometimes I don't shop. Like for this project, it was hard for me to be able to shop because she needed my support. So she had a team of shoppers, and she had to have them go everywhere. And then we would sit and shop online. Yeah. So like she would start shopping, and then she would show me her cart, and then I would start shopping some more based off of whatever she had already gotten.
Yeah.
And also the show was in 2 places. We started in LA, but then we filmed the majority in Atlanta. And both of us had already worked in Atlanta. She had worked there, and I had worked there on another show. So we kind of already knew what we would be able to get there and what we wouldn't be able to get. Yeah. So we did a lot of the bulk in LA, and kind of like I was able to pick up a lot of the pieces in Atlanta. But my position, I always feel like, is really being the taskmaster, and then helping her when she gets stuck in her mind creatively on something. Like because she'll hone in on something like so finite, and I'll have to reel her out and be like, yes, I see that, but this, and this, combining this because the script says this, and this. And she'll be like, you're right. I'll trust my instincts. Let's keep that in. or she'll be like, you're right, let's get rid of it, or what do you think we should put in instead of that, and then we'll talk it out. Like I'm kind of like her Jiminy Cricket, even though Jiminy Cricket's kind of a racist thing to say. I am kind of like the little friend on her shoulder that has to remind her, like, hey, let's go do this thing. Hey, we got caught up too much in here. Let's go do this thing. Don't spin out about this dress. It's fine. I ordered 5 more already. Like, just little stuff like that. So it's like partially creative, partially task oriented.
Yes.
And Dominique, how does that feel, having that support, having that like type of person that'll just give you that moment? Does that give you the chance to even like focus on more things? That's all.
I love it. I mean, personally, like I thrive in like discipline and structure, and like I do like order when it makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just order for order's sake. It's like I just remember so vividly, like I had found this like amazing Balmain like brown chocolate fringe dress, and I was so obsessed with it, and we bought it, and I was like, and she's gonna wear it in this scene. And then like it turned out we needed like so many multiples of a dress for that scene. And as a designer, I kind of fall in love with the clothing. It's a little sick, a little weird, but I get so attached and invested in it. And so then Brittny will kindly, and sometimes not kindly, but help me break up with the clothing. You know what I mean? Like,
and how did that
but
feel?
then,
like how, like what, like when is it? What was there a moment in Swarm like you had to break up with? Was there a moment, Brittny?
She had to break up with a lot of things. And really, the thing that becomes the larger issue, I'll say, for the type of work that we end up doing, because both of us have done a lot of work where you need multiples.
Yeah.
She'll fixate on a thing, and it might not be scripted when we first got it, but once the script is like finished and we got the final draft, we'll stop and we'll read it together. Like we'll read it across each other, and then we'll be like, oh crap, it says she gets hit by a car, or like, oh no, it said that they got stabbed in the head. Like you have to. And then she's already like, but I want her to wear the gown. And I'm like, but her kukulati is going to be out. So we have to modify it.
Yeah.
You know, she can hold on to it. And I'm like, okay, so we're going to build shorts into it, or we'll build a bra top, or, you know, like we'll figure it out. But then sometimes like it might not fit, you know, like Nyreen. I don't know if she's still on here. I saw she was on here, but they're like Dominique.
Shout out to Nyreen Brown.
Nyreen. Talented dancer, talented performer, phenomenal woman. Dominique bought her these shoes that were stunning. Okay?
So long.
They didn't fit. We tried really hard.
Oh, like Cinderella in the Glass tried that hard?
Yes. Dominique was going to do everything to get these shoes to fit. And eventually, I was like, we can't do it. She got to dance. We got to find another shoe. And she let it go. And she got a shoe that was just as good. Like, we figured it out. But you just have to talk her through. And yes, sometimes, I was like, we've known each other a long time. So, yes, sometimes she's like, you're being mean. And I'm like, I'm really sorry. I just need you to understand that we got to move past this and get another shoe.
But I need that. Like, I need that, you know? And so it's cool, though, because then I know in the back of my mind, I still have this special thing that maybe I can use later. And so by the grace of God, that beautiful dress, I was able to use it in the music video where we didn't need no multiples.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
right.
It's like it all feeds the story at the end of the day.
Like a little piece in the puzzle. And so now we've gotten the film is out. We've gotten the feedback. Tell us where you were, the moment you were feeling when you heard you were Emmy nominated for the project.
So crazy. I mean, honestly, I had just woken up. I was literally in bed, and my PR team, which I had not brought on for this, but they helped me with my last show, called me, and they were like, how does it feel? I was like, what do you mean? to be alive. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not to be alive, girl.
And then they told me, and I was like, wow, no shit. Like, it, you know, this show was such a unique show that it really, it polarized people. I feel like you either were like, yes, I love this, or like, what is going on, you know? And so to have it be seen and have it be acknowledged for all this work that all these beautiful Black women put into it, it's like, it means so much, like straight up.
And Brittny, how did you feel at that moment too?
I was confused as well because somebody texted me and was like, so excited for you. Congratulations. And I think kind of around the same time, I might have just found out that I was the VP of the union.
Oh, so it was a double win.
Yeah, I was like, well, what are you saying? I said, for what? For what? I was, and the weird part was like, I can list you 5 things right now that you could be congratulating me about. And I was like, I'm not trying to not be humble. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And then Dominique hit me up. She called me. And I was like, oh, that's what they were congratulating me for. That's wild.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's real wild. And then I just kind of went on with my day. And then I came.
It's so great when it's your best friends with you. Like,
Yes.
literally, it's Brittny, and then our costume supervisor is Michelle Khan. She started with us on those shows that we worked on way back in the day as well. So for us all 3 to be together nominated and have put our heart and soul into it, it feels just destined. You know, like, that's just, it means so much.
Yeah.
So that means that y'all gonna be pretty much like lock and loaded. Like this is Destiny's Child right here. Like, y'all ain't going nowhere. You know, this is it. This is it. This is the 3. This is all. That is amazing. And like I said, congratulations for being Emmy nominated for being Emmy nominated for that moment. Like, again, awesome project. I've watched it. I know everybody on here on this audience watched it, as we've getting amazing hearts from everywhere. But as we go into a little bit more into the storytelling, so we'll start off with you, Dominique. How is your POV in relationship with a producer or a director when it comes to a costume designer on set or overall with the project? Because I know we like tapped into it a little bit, like in regards to like Brittny, you were saying like she's with mainly the producers and the directors, like giving the deck and going through the process. Is it like you are pretty much like hand in hand with the producer and director from the start to finish of the project? Or sometimes have you been in instances where you haven't been, and like did it make the difference in the process of the project for storytelling?
Well, as you know, like with TV, you know, the director changes. So, you know, Donald did the pilot, and we worked pretty close together in the beginning. Yeah. But once we got shooting, I think he had so many things that he wanted to put his 2 cents into. We kind of didn't get to have that connect. So the next in line is really Janine Neighbors, and she is the showrunner. She's a writer and a creator of the show. So she was my go-to, and I was just like totally locked in with her. I could text her anytime, show her ideas, and get kind of maybe a little more backstory or insight on certain things if they were questionable, you know?
Yeah.
And then we had our rep from Amazon, who, you know, is also, I mentioned him earlier, Steven, and he would weigh in too, because he's really tapped in. He's just a great creative. And then also Donald's brother. So Steven was there through the whole thing, and he was so great too, because he's just such a dreamer, and like he thinks big. So it was great being able to like incorporate some of his ideas too.
Awesome. And so in regards to, I know that you all have mentioned like cities and being around different crews. So a lot, you know, we know it's popping: LA, Atlanta, New York. And so for your both experience for LA and Atlanta specifically, because I do have some people in the audience in Atlanta. Shout out to y'all. And from LA too. Shout out to y'all in the back. And so for the crew, when it comes to workflow and finding gigs, is there a difference in the world of LA finding a gig and versus Atlanta? And one of y'all can kick it off, and you can tell me the pros of it and the cons.
Everything has a pro and a con.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you know me, I'm very transparent. Not gonna lie. The only reason I prefer LA is because I can sleep in my own bed. I was like, and other than that, when it comes to shopping and access, like, I have friends who are in Hawaii. They have shoppers here.
Yeah.
I have friends who are on the East Coast. They still have shopping offices here. Everybody will still have some type of shopping office here to ship somewhere else, because the quality and the what they have here just is more, because the industry is focused here. Unless you're like in New York and you're doing, I don't know, I feel like sometimes with New York you want to do more stylized things. And then you don't need as much LA stuff. But I feel like those are the two big pluses of being in LA. For me.
Think for Atlanta, I think the plus is like it's kind of like they're running a monopoly on production. So it's like when a show comes to town, there's only a handful of people for costumes. There's only a handful of people that do the makeup and do different things that are talented. And so it's like, as soon as one person gets the word, it's telephone. Everybody knows this show's coming. And so that kind of is helpful, I'm sure, to them. But it's also helpful for us, because then sometimes what can happen is when you bring your supervisor on from Atlanta, they have their crew already.
Yeah, I lived in Atlanta, I'd probably say 2019. And I want to say it was maybe just the start of Tyler Perry Studios. So if you wasn't working over there, you was probably working at GPB over there in the corner. You know what I'm saying? Or if you didn't do GPB, then you was doing some type of Housewives of Atlanta type of franchise or campaign in that sense. So I definitely, with both of those experiences, I would agree with you. LA is the thing. But I definitely think in regards to supporting Black-owned, especially Black-owned projects, because I feel like it's starting to be in the rise there and in Detroit and in like those spaces. I think that there's more and more spaces of you all being attached to those. And even, we could even talk about that too. With the shift of more independent short films and all that stuff, have you all been, there been a spike in design and costume, like in those spaces? Have you gotten like more calls and stuff in those spaces?
Do you mean like independent?
Independent short films, even commercials, ads, because I know in every type of storytelling there has to be a producer, director, someone that's putting the clothes, and there's talent. So in the other spaces that are outside of the typical TV film, what has been some other spaces that you've been able to tap into or heard of experiences like commercials, ads, those type of things as well?
Yeah. Well, I definitely have always been, in commercials, but like, for example, my agent doesn't rep me for commercial work. Yeah. So that's always stuff that I hear about on my own, and it's just through people I know and the different production companies that I've worked for that I get those jobs. But I will say, like, over the strike, I was able to do a theater production, a new David Mamet play, so I don't know if it's like the movies are allowing me to do those. I think it was more circumstance, like, hey, I'm available, and where can my skill be applied, and it's just researching. Yeah.
Would you also say the same for you, Brittny, as well? And talking about the strike, I know a lot of things. I know we sat us down real quick and reset and regroup. I know for me as well. I was heavily in unscripted and competition, and with the strike, I really shifted more into documentaries and like a docu-flow type of style. So do you think with the strike that kind of also made you do a little career shift currently?
Before the strike, I was already in a career shift.
Okay. Yeah.
I actually am transitioning into producing, with still having.
Come to our
Thanks, y'all.
world, girl. It's all right.
Look, I'm 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I have literally trying to keep 1 foot in the design world and have 1 foot in the producing world. And I was like, I have something I have something going on that I cannot talk about because of the strike. I was like, clearly when they can announce it, everybody will know. But for me, with the strike, what I've found if I want to talk about being a costumer, because as an assistant, dead to the world. Like, unless you're getting on a cleared project, you're not really doing anything except for commercial work. So, but also in the union, there's a commercial classification. So what I've seen, and this kind of goes for like, it'll start at the top, like directors. A lot of directors who normally do film and television are getting put up for these crazy bids for commercials that they normally wouldn't do. And it was kind of pushing regular commercial people out of the way. Same thing for costumers. Somebody's calling me to do a commercial. Technically, I'm not a commercial costumer. I can do commercials. I've done them. But then there's a whole group of commercial people where it's like, are they working? Like, I want to make sure that you're working in your classification before I'm getting called. I mean, I need the money, but you're classified to do this. This is your skill. Live TV people, there's a classification for them. So like I see that happening. And I see people learning a lot more about other jobs and honing other skills that normally they wouldn't have to because they don't work in those fields. So I think that's pretty cool. Like, it was dope when Dominique was like, I'm doing a play. I was like, oh my God, you haven't done one I can't even count how many years it's been since she's done a play. So it was like great to have the opportunity. But I think for me, after this, the thing I'm the most afraid of is content like Swarm won't be getting produced because everybody is scaling back on doing unconventional, doing diverse, doing queer content, do anything that is not the normal mainstream that is guaranteed check, we're making these coins. I'm really scared about them pulling the opportunities, not only for viewers, but for us who work below the line on these jobs. It I don't know what the future looks like, but I do think the strike has really spurred that in a way where we already saw them pulling content like HBO. A show you worked on HBO, Tony, gone. You
can't
watch
it. Even find Legendary at all. I was still saying.
Can't find Legendary.
Nice.
So it's like, how is this? How is this gonna affect us long term? We were very lucky to do Swarm. You were very lucky to do Legendary. Like, it's for us, by us, straight up FUBU style. Are we going to be able to still do that? Are we going to be able to continue to hone our crafts in a space that we feel comfortable in seen in and tell our stories? That's the thing I think right now I'm a little worried about.
Do you agree as well, Dominique, as well?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I've just had so many of my friends like find out like, oh, my show's canceled. And it's like, why? It was a totally successful show. It doesn't make any sense, And I get that, like, there are certain shows that actually it just costs too much to keep going. You know what I mean? But these shows are not that. But I did want to say, one, just on a positive note, like, I think what the strike has allowed for is for me to take the time to get back to people that I've wanted to collaborate with and, really feel them out. There's a filmmaker named Savannah Leaf that is from the Bay Area, and I wanted to do her short film a while back, but I was already on a show, and so the dates never worked out. But fortunately, now I've been able to catch up with her more and just express how much I love her vision, and she's just an amazing director. And so that is the one thing that at least we can create our own opportunities, and I think that's what the strikes told me personally.
Amen to that. And definitely I'll be doing my own project. So I will be connected with y'all both soon on some stuff that I have cooking up. And so for our last question, as we shift into, strike, everything has kind of either put some people in a shift in gears. And so for me, if I want to get into design, I want to be like, hell, I'm doing this and I want to start getting into design. I want to get into that world. what would be a one takeaway or tip that you would give to someone that wants to transition into that world?
Personally, I would say two things. One, find a designer that you just love their aesthetic. Like every project they do, you've seen it, you're into it, you connect with their choices, and reach out to them. I mean, they're not, so difficult to get in touch with in this day and age. Like, so that's number one. Number two, I would say definitely like do what you can to work at the costume houses, because that's the best education. You will learn so much about the clarity of the different decades and really understanding how we care for clothes and how we, I mean, honestly, just honor them, and you just see how, that high level of respect that the employees at the rental houses have for the pieces, and it naturally rubs off on you, and they have such a wealth of knowledge. So
that was a gem. And Brittny, what would be your takeaway for someone that I'm in design, I'm interested, and now it's your time?
The first thing I always say is know the difference between costumers and designers. A lot of people want to do design because they think it's glamorous, they think it's fun. They don't realize the hard work that goes into it. They also don't realize that they're supported by an entire team of people. A crew could be 4 people, it could be 100 people. You have people who build the clothes, custom made people. You have people who do specialty costumes, super suits. You have people who shop. You have people who just dress background. Like there's so many positions in a costume department that if you don't want to design, you still might be really good at something else. So the first thing I always say is know the difference between the two. And a great way to learn the difference is 2 ways. Look at a show, find the designer. When you connect with the designer, try to set up a meeting with them. See if they'll want to do a Zoom, see if you could, even an email, whatever you could do to talk to them, chat with them, but then ask them about their crew. Ask them who works on their crew. What do those people do? Is there anybody on their crew that maybe you could also talk to? That way you're getting the design side and you're getting the costuming side. Because I find I meet so many people who get into the guild and then they're like, I don't think this is what I really wanted to do. Like they don't realize the politics of it. You can't just go in and put the clothes together. There's still politics with the producers that you have to talk to and with the studio. So you have to kind of wrap your head around that. And then the second thing is Facebook, which I don't use anymore, but it is a huge tool for knowing oh, somebody's looking for a costumer to day play. Like there's a day check thing on Facebook for people just to day play on different jobs. There's a non-union costumer group on there. There's a designer group. There's a group where they just give out different, if people need racks, if you need hangers, if you need sewing supplies. There's so many different groups on Facebook that you can access all this information and you'll be able to book a job, literally. So I would say those 2 things for me would be would make it easier for somebody to kind of get their foot in the door with getting access to people in the industry already, and then also maybe getting access to a job.
Wow. If y'all didn't hear those 2 gems, baby, it looks like y'all don't want to get a job, because listen, being a creative, you have to find those little nooks and crannies to be able to keep those lights on. And so thank you, Queen, so much for just joining in on this amazing discussion. I learned so much about costume design and design and just overall how to be able to be a storyteller and a better storyteller for my producers, and that all play in different positions. So I would say before we go, you can definitely do some comments at the bottom for our crowd here, because I will be doing some 2 announcements at the end. But definitely, is there any new projects or new things that we kind of got to look out for both of you? I know, if it's something that's don't say it. But if it's something personal, if you have a masterclass or anything that's coming up personally, that's coming up, you both can lead the floor.
Yes, I love that Brittny has this secret FBI job that she's holding.
Listen,
she's a spy. No,
I'm not a spy.
So I would just say I'm getting ready to head to Savannah on Friday for the Savannah Film Festival.
Nice.
And yeah, I got selected to be a part of Variety's top 10 artists to watch. So I'll be doing a panel down there.
Congratulations.
And then they'll also be doing a premiere of Ava DuVernay's new film Origin, which I also designed. So that'll just be a week of film festivities. If you're in Savannah, what's up? Come through.
Come through. I know some people, like I said, that I know some people that are here in Georgia. They better make their way down there because you said networking. You just never know who.
Yeah.
Brittny, do you have anything happening? I know that you have your own personal business that you do as well on the side as well as your work. Can you tell us about your business and if there's anything going on?
Yeah, I have a nonprofit called Fabric, fighting for African American and Black rights in costumes. We do have an Instagram. I will say, oddly enough, during the strike, we've kind of been on a pause, and it's because of me.
Self-care.
I'll say this, the real reason is because I have been finding that I can do so much labor at the union level of getting people of color, people of different backgrounds, ethnicities, means, physicalities into the local by doing the work I'm doing it with my local. And I've kind of shifted a lot of my focus on doing it that way because now I literally have a seat at the table and I'm like reconstructing it with other people, you know, and it's very empowering, but also is giving me like, oh, take a beat, because there's something else that I know Fabric is going to be able to accommodate with all the rollout of all the really dope stuff that we have coming through the local. And then outside of that, the Secret Squirrel thing isn't even a job. I got a fellowship. I just can't say who it's with.
That's all right.
Because
we will give you your love.
Yeah, so I'm very, very excited about that because my journey into producing seems to be like happening much more quickly than I was expecting. And I'm, again, networking, connecting, meeting new people because we had this space, like Dom said, because of the strike, I'm able to just kind of flex in a different way. So I'm just really excited and looking forward to that.
Wow. And that is amazing. Congratulations to both of you and everything, the accolades that you have done. Like I said, Queens of Production, we always give flowers to people that give amazing stories. And for y'all to do it on an Emmy-nominated level, I know that it's going to be amazing things. I see an EGOT in your future.
I was about to say, Dominique, you're going to get the EGOT.
Listen.
Girl.
With her Tina Marie musical.
Ooh.
Listen.
From your lips to God's ears. Amen. Amen.
Amen. And so as we wrap out for this closing, I have one announcement. I'll probably say the other announcement. I'll jump back off of that one and introduce the Queen of Story mentees. We had a lot of applications, but we narrowed it down to the 3. So I'll be jumping off and jumping on for that and announcing the official 3 that we have and explaining their backgrounds and stuff. I've already been working with them a little bit, and it's just been amazing just to work with the amazing 3 and their positions and their way of shifting and going. And I just love that the fact that me being able to now expand my mentorship, I would be able to be a cheerleader and support for anybody's position in any way. So we're going to be able to announce that. But the biggest announcement that I have is so much of a blessing. We have, as Queens of Production, we are a part of a fellowship with Staff Me Up in regards to their COVID and inclusion. And we've been trying to kind of figure out ways on really how to support and help our members. So we have officially have a opening. Staff Me Up is willing to help out and offer some of our members to get an amazing opportunity. We are going to select a couple of people to get the chance to get Staff Me Up premium account free for 90 days. Free! 90 days, okay? I know that the job hunt has been crazy, and I know that now it's starting to shift with some of the stuff that's happening. SAG is still on strike, so we still have to support our FAMBM. If you can go to the picket lines that they still have up, please make sure that you go to support. I know the Writers Guild, they have their stuff intensive, but we still got to support our community. So, but in the meantime, we still got to go to work, okay? We still got to make sure that we have the coins. So if you have a Staff Me Up account, make sure, 1, and you have an updated resume, 2, make sure you DM me immediately, because I will give you the verification link that we will have now open to be able to give out the form, all the things. It also helps staff me up to give them feedback as well, because I know that they don't really get enough feedback from us. Like, girl, we need to get more jobs. Girl, we need to get more script in there. Girl, we need to be able to get something and get the feedback. So we're going to help them help us help you. Okay, so make sure you DM me if you're looking for work and you have a Staff Me Up account. DM me. I'll immediately send you the verification link. You have up until November the 1st to fill it out, because once that happens, we will be picking the official ones that will get selected to have the 90 days of the pre-NVM. So please make sure, as of now, have an updated resume. Make sure you have Staff Me Up. You update that, and you make sure you include on the organization org section that you include Queens of Production on there. Because if you don't have none of that, then you can't be a part of this amazing opportunity. So, like I said, and these queens, Dominique and Brittny, have as well the link. So, if you need work, help us help you. Make sure you send the links and everything out. Again, the deadline to fill out the form is November the 1st, okay? So, this wraps up our IG Live talk. I am so excited for you all to have the full video, because we dropped that first. But I know y'all like the recap videos, because, you know, I like doing all the edits and all the cute stuff. But that won't come until later on the end of this week. Again, we are kind of going to take a little breath for these next couple of weeks. I got to reset and regroup. But I have the biggest announcement and the biggest special guest that we're having to come up in November. He's an executive producer for one of the biggest shows that kind of just started to drop, okay? But, you know, I can't really give the full juice away until probably the next week or so. So, can't give all the juice. I'm not Oprah. I can't give everything away, child. There's like no point. But again, like I said, as we wrap out, again, thank you, Dominique. Thank you, Brittny, for staying in and staying tuned. Thank you for the supporters, because I know you had a lot of support on here too as well, for sticking in with us. And if you want the full link to the video, please DM me as well. I will immediately send the link to you. And like I always say with Queens of Production, live, love, and create. Thank you, Queens, so much. And I hope you have a good rest of your week, child.
Thank
you.
You're welcome, y'all. Peace.
Take care.